So, we're covering Taniwha again today, for the third time, hopefully the last. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for dropping by and your ongoing support. My name is Patrick, host of the EDH Brutality YouTube page, in which we upload Magic the Gathering content and analysis every Sunday. It should be noted that this is our first video back since the data loss on our computer, in which we recovered a majority of it. However, we do have some changes since then. The first of which is a visual change happening to be with the background of today's video. We now designated the slot machine in the right hand corner to say you are now watching EDH Brutality, as well as our logo and a Patreon plug. Speaking of Patreon, special thanks to this month's Patreons for making videos like this possible. If you would like to be featured on such lists, make sure to check out my Patreon, linked down in the description below, for ways you can support this channel. Another change we have made since losing all of our data is we swapped out the microphone as mentioned in our previous video. That's right, today you were listening to the Lewitt LCT 440 Pure. It is a condenser microphone that I am rather excited for. However, it is much more sensitive than our previous setup, so I may be articulating my words a bit differently, but I am very excited nonetheless. So without further ado, let's just jump right into our video today, discussing Taniwha for the third time on the channel here. And now the reason why she has debuted 3 times within this channel is because we had our initial deck tech and I was very happy with our brew. However, every few months, the more I play it, the more I see that we can change in the deck to improve it. So that's exactly what we're going to be covering in today's video. Hopefully the second and final audit of our Taniwha Mono Blue Land Hating Voltron deck. Hopefully trimming the fat and warranting the respect it deserves.
Oh yeah, we gotta trim some of the fat around here.
Trim the, what do you mean by trim the fat?
I want you to fire the fat people.
So, if you haven't seen the original deck tech as well as our first audit for this brew, I highly recommend go taking a look at those videos before continuing on this one, simply because you need to have a good idea on what the deck is, the idea behind it, and how it functions before you can look at the changes we are making to it. To see those videos, they will be provided down in the description below, as well as the comment section of this video. Our first change of the day happens to be none other than Hall of the Bandlord, a fantastic land if paired with the proper Voltron package. However, since our last changelog video, we did shy away from pure Voltron and into combo. So it becomes a rather useless land that enters tapped, and having to pay 3 life for 1 colorless mana just doesn't make it worth it to include in the deck. So I'm changing this out with Ancient Tomb, a land that reads: tap Ancient Tomb to add 2 colorless mana to your mana pool. Ancient Tomb deals 2 damage to you. And this will help us achieve our combo much quicker, since we are able to generate 2 colorless mana, essentially making it another Soul Ring. Our second change in this deck list happens to be Rogue's Passage, a fantastic land once again that gives us the utility of paying 4 colorless mana to make target creature unblockable until end of turn, and perfect for Voltron. But once again, as you can see, the theme reminiscing Voltron, if we did remove that key aspect within the deck, these cards are not needed. So rather than trimming a land entirely, I did replace this with another land, coming in with War Room. War Room is a land that can tap for 1 colorless mana, or we can pay 3 colorless mana and tap War Room to pay life equal to the number of colors in your commander's color identity to draw a card. And what a great include! Not only can we tap the mana in response to our lands phasing out, so if we have nothing to spend that mana on, we can draw a card, but we only need to pay 1 life to draw said card, because we are playing a mono blue deck. And what I found throughout goldfishing this deck is it runs out of cards rather quickly, because we are running a very aggressive mana rock package. So it's always nice to have an extra card in our hand. Staying on the theme of changing up lands, why not get rid of a basic island? It's not really doing anything for us other than helping us against our own back to basics. And with card draw being this deck's greatest downfall, what better way to pitch our island other than to include the utility land Cephalid Coliseum. Cephalid Coliseum is a land that reads, tap to add 1 blue mana to your mana pool. Cephalid Coliseum deals 1 damage to you, as well as Threshold. Pay 1 blue mana and tap Cephalid Coliseum, and target player draws 3 cards, then discards 3 cards from his or her hand. And although it isn't necessarily card draw, it can provide card advantage, especially in combo decks, because as you all may know, some cards may be better suited for a situation than others. So the goal here obviously is not to crack this thing when we have 0 cards, because then we'll still be at a loss. No, the idea is to crack this puppy when we have a dead hand and we want to wheel 3 cards essentially. So I'm rather excited to try this thing out and hoping that it will improve the consistency of our Taniwha deck. Our 4th change of today's deck happens to be Thassa, God of the Sea. Once again, a fantastic card to include if we are going Voltron, as it allows us to make a target creature on our side of the table unblockable, as well as a scry ability. But as you all may know, in the previous few videos, we did omit our Voltron package, making Thassa a really odd include. Although the scry ability is rather strong, it comes nowhere close to Karn, the Great Creator. Karn, the Great Creator, is a 4 colorless legendary planeswalker that reads, opponent's artifacts can't activate. Put 5 loyalty on Karn. Opponents can attack Karn as though he were you. Any damage he suffers depletes that much loyalty. If Karn has no loyalty, he abandons you. During your turn, you may add 1 loyalty to turn target non-creature artifact into an artifact creature with both power and toughness equal to its casting cost until your next turn. Or you may spend 2 loyalty to put an artifact card from outside the game into your hand, which opens up for some phenomenal combo potential. As the last deck change, we added Mycosynth Lattice to the deck, turning all permanents into artifacts. So if we are able to get Karn on our board, we are going to permanently lock out the table for all of our opponents. Not only this, but if we do pull a card from outside the game back into our hand, we can do more shenanigans with our Surveyor's Scope, the single best ramp spell within our Taniwha deck. And it doesn't stop there. That's right, in the previous video we added Power Artifact to our Grim and Basalt Monolith combo for infinite colorless mana. But with Karn, we are able to double down on this infinite mana combo, making it far more consistent within our deck if we discuss our next include. That being the substitution of our own Jeweled Lotus. Once again, getting rid of the primary Voltron pieces within this deck, there is no longer a need to blitz out our commander. So we swap this out with a Voltaic Construct, further comboing with Karn. Voltaic Construct is a 4 colorless artifact creature golem that reads, pay 2 colorless mana at instant speed to untap target artifact creature. So the idea behind this is to either get Basalt or Grim Monolith on board, as well as Karn when the Voltaic Construct is in play. With Karn's +1 ability, we can turn either the Basalt or Grim Monolith into a creature equal to its casting cost, and we can tap it for 3 mana. With the 3 colorless mana, we can then spend 2 of it on the Voltaic Construct to untap those said cards as another way to generate infinite colorless mana. And the reason behind this is to further add consistency to the deck, as our only win now comes from infinite mana paired with a draw spell, allowing us to play our Mycosynth Lattice and spitting out our entire deck on the table to ultimately finish off our opponents with a Taniwha equipped with Worldslayer. So at heart, it is still a Voltron deck. However, we have to combo to get there, because we are no longer hitting our opponents multiple times to wean their life totals down. No, we just want to hit them once and hit them so hard they are unable to come back. Now, typically in these types of videos, I would review the changes we have made before jumping right into our last card, but since all the changes we have done thus far all fit the same game plan and the actual goal of the deck has not changed, that will not be necessary. So our last change of the day happens to be... I'm just joking, the video is not over. Anyways, our last change happens to be Silver Mirror. It's a good mana dork, don't get me wrong, but this deck is running such an aggressive mana rock package as well as the problems with card draw, it becomes useless rather fast. So I decided to throw in a card to further help our hateful synergy, and that card is Portcullis. Portcullis is a 4-mana artifact that reads, whenever any creature comes into play, if there are 2 or more other creatures in play, set that creature aside. If Portcullis leaves play, put the creature into play under its owner's control. Not only does this complement our deck with the low amount of creatures we have included within our brew, but it also shuts down go wide strategies, no longer making us vulnerable to attacks. And let's say our Taniwha happens to be equipped with the World Slayer. Well, with a maximum of only 2 creatures allowed on board at any single given time, our World Slayer will be able to freely make contact with any one of our opponents, ensuring we get that destroy all permanents trigger successfully making contact. But that's gonna do it for today's changes. I really hope that it improves the speed as well as consistency for my Taniwha deck. Once again, if you're curious about the full deck list as well as the previous changes, you can take a look down in the comment section below as well as the description of today's video. So with that all said, if you'd like to stay tuned for future videos here on the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the bell down in the bottom right hand corner of your screen. And as always, my name is Patrick, host of EDH Brutality. I thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out, guys.